In the world of Formula One, rivalries are the lifeblood of the sport. Few have been as intense, captivating, and era-defining as the battle between two legends changed the face of Formula One forever. It was the year 2006, and the stage was set for a battle for the ages. On one side was the legendary Michael Schumacher, a seven-time world champion and the most successful driver in F1 history. He was on a mission to win his 8th title, cementing his legacy as the greatest of all time. But standing in his way was a young upstart, Fernando Alonso, the youngest world champion in history at just 24 years old. With his lightning-quick speed and razor-sharp instincts, Alonso was determined to dethrone the king and claim the title for himself. As we dive into this legendary rivalry, we'll explore the key moments that defined their struggle for dominance. We'll also relive the heart-stopping races, the tense moments on the grid, and the unforgettable encounters that shaped the course of Formula One history. The 2006 Formula One season kicked off with a heart-pounding Bahrain Grand Prix, setting the stage for the epic rivalry between Fernando Alonso and Michael Schumacher. Ferrari showed promise, securing the front row with Schumacher claiming pole position and his new teammate Felipe Massa starting alongside him. As the race commenced, Alonso quickly asserted his dominance, skillfully overtaking Honda's race driver Jenson Button and setting his sights on the leading Ferrari duo. Massa, entrusted with keeping Alonso at bay, found himself under immense pressure and soon faltered, allowing the young Spanish driver to slip past. The stakes intensified on the 7th lap when Massa lost control of his car, nearly colliding with Alonso. However, with swift maneuvering, Alonso avoided the potential disaster and continued his relentless pursuit of Schumacher. Unfazed by the challenge, Schumacher set a blistering pace, clocking a series of fastest laps to maintain his lead. But Alonso was not to be denied, and a clever pit stop strategy saw him emerge right on Schumacher's tail. The crowd held its collective breath as the two drivers went wheel to wheel, neither giving an inch. In the end, Alonso came out on top, his precision driving and strategic brilliance paying off as he took the lead and held on for a thrilling victory. It was a statement of intent, a warning to Schumacher and the rest of the field that he would not be giving up his title without a fight. The rivalry was heating up, and this was just the beginning. The next race was the Malaysian Grand Prix, which was marked by anticipation and uncertainty as Formula One prepared to transition from 3-liter V10 engines to 2.4-liter V8 engines. With potential engine failures looming, the Ferrari team made a strategic decision to change the engines on both of their cars. This move resulted in a 10-position grid penalty for Michael Schumacher and Felipe Massa, forcing them to start from the 14th and 21st places respectively. Despite the setback, reigning world champion Fernando Alonso showcased his exceptional skills, catapulting from 7th to 3rd place at the start. Alonso continued his charge, claiming 2nd place after a series of impressive overtakes. Schumacher, eager to regain ground, found himself chasing not only Alonso, but also his teammate Massa, who proved to be faster on the day. At the end of the race, Massa ultimately finished ahead of the legendary Schumacher. Over at Renault, Alonso's teammate Giancarlo Fisichella emerged as the race winner. His performance resulted in a well-deserved victory, raising questions about Ferrari's car reliability. In the end, Alonso's stellar drive secured him a 2nd-place finish, while Schumacher's 5th place left him with valuable points but a growing deficit in the championship race. As the Formula One season continued, the next Grand Prix presented a formidable challenge as unpredictable weather loomed over the race. Ferrari, known for their tire dominance in dry conditions, found them vulnerable to the rain. The Scuderia's Bridgestone tires struggled to perform in wet weather, setting the stage for a series of unfortunate events that would shape the race's outcome. Qualifying saw Michael Schumacher suffer his first setback due to an unexpected downpour, starting the race outside the top 10. Jenson Button, the Honda race driver, capitalized on the conditions, claiming pole position. Tensions were high as the race began, with Felipe Massa colliding with a Williams driver at the first turn, prompting the deployment of the safety car. Fernando Alonso, displaying his adaptability, used the opportunity to warm his tires, setting himself up to overtake Jenson Button. The race was soon interrupted once again, as a Red Bull driver lost control while braking and crashed into the barriers. Amid the chaos, Schumacher strategically worked his way through the field, climbing from 11th to 6th place by lap 24. However, his determination proved costly as he pushed too hard while attempting to pass Jenson Button, losing control and crashing into the barriers. The incident marked an early end to the race for Schumacher. It was a disastrous day for Ferrari, with both cars failing to finish the race. As the Formula One season continued to unfold, the pressure mounted for Michael Schumacher to secure his first victory and reinvigorate his championship pursuit. With 17 points behind Fernando Alonso, the need for a dramatic shift in momentum was urgently needed. The Imola circuit, a venue imbued with personal significance for Schumacher, offered a glimmer of hope. This time, Schumacher won the pole position, shattering Ayrton Senna's record for most pole positions. The stage was set for a thrilling showdown, and Alonso was determined to spoil the party. As the race continued, Schumacher's tires began to falter, and Alonso pounced on the opportunity. But the German driver had a plan, and it involved luring Alonso into a trap. Schumacher's strategists had concocted a clever tactic which was to provoke Alonso into making an early pit stop and then unleash a series of quick laps to retake the lead. It was a risky move, but it paid off in spades. Schumacher retained the lead after his pit stop and drove flawlessly to the finish, finally securing his first win of the season. The Ferrari garage erupted in jubilation, and Schumacher's title hopes were rekindled. At the next Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso secured the pole position, but the Ferrari duo of Michael Schumacher and his teammate were hot on his heels, determined to overtake him. As the race reached its midpoint, Schumacher employed a similar strategy to his previous success, making a swift pit stop and then delivering a series of blistering laps to take the lead. His impressive drive ultimately secured a second consecutive victory for Scuderia Ferrari, showcasing the team's superior strategy and tactics over their rivals at Renault. However, that memory was short-lived because the Spanish Grand Prix was a home race for Alonso, and he was determined to make it a memorable one. Again, he took pole position with ease, and his dominance never wavered throughout the race. Schumacher tried his best to keep up, but Alonso's pace was too hot to handle. As the checkered flag fell, Alonso took a historic victory in front of 130,000 adoring fans. Schumacher could only manage second place, his championship hopes slipping further away. The gap between the two drivers was now a daunting 23 points, and it seemed like Alonso's title was all but secured. By the end of the Turkish Grand Prix, the points between Alonso and Schumacher had reduced to only 12 points. With each race reducing his chances of winning the championship, Schumacher had to change the situation immediately. Next was the Italian Grand Prix, and luck was on Schumacher's side. For the first time in 2 years, Alonso's engine failed him, handing Schumacher a golden opportunity. With his trademark precision, Schumacher seized the chance, driving to his 90th career victory. But it was what happened next that sent shockwaves through the paddock. After all the celebration, Schumacher dropped a bombshell. He was retiring from racing at the end of the season. He wanted to go out on a high note, and what better way than to win his 8th championship? The stakes had never been higher. With just 3 races left, Schumacher faced a daunting task. Could he overcome the point deficit and claim the title? Or would Alonso hold on to secure his second consecutive championship? Well, you're about to find out. The Chinese Grand Prix would be the next deciding factor, as it was supposed to be a turning point for Schumacher. But fate had other plans. Rainy qualifying conditions caused havoc for Ferrari's tires, and Schumacher found himself languishing in 6th place. But the rain gods smiled on him during the race. As the rain stopped and the track became dry, Schumacher quickly increased his pace. As for Alonso, it was the other way around. With his right rear wheel hampering his progress, Schumacher seized this opportunity to overtake him and eventually win the race. After this victory, both Schumacher and Alonso were tied on the same point, with the next race proving to be the deciding factor. Next up was the Japanese Grand Prix, a race that would prove to be a make-or-break moment for both Schumacher and Alonso. Ferrari's dominance in qualifying was a welcome boost for Schumacher, but disaster struck when his engine failed him for the first time in 6 years. The shock was obvious. And just like the previous race, Alonso pounced on this opportunity, using his pit stop strategy to finish ahead of Schumacher's teammate Massa and putting himself ahead of Schumacher. Schumacher's dreams of an 8th title were slipping away, but he refused to give up. With one race left in Brazil, he was more determined than ever to fight to the finish. As the Formula One season reached its climactic finale at the Brazilian Grand Prix, the world held its breath, anticipating a miracle for the legendary Michael Schumacher. However, the qualifying session brought disappointment, as Schumacher's Ferrari experienced technical issues, forcing him to start in a disheartening 10th position. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso found himself in a favorable position, needing only an 8th-place finish to secure the championship. Undeterred, Schumacher pushed forward, displaying the grit and determination that defined his storied career. As the race unfolded, he tactically carved his way through the field, advancing to 6th position. Just as hope began to glimmer, disaster struck again. A collision with Renault's driver Giancarlo Fisichella sent Schumacher's car spinning out of control, extinguishing any remaining chance of capturing an 8th world title. Alonso, capitalizing on Schumacher's misfortune, crossed the finish line in 2nd place, securing the 2006 Formula One World Championship for the 2nd time. As for Michael Schumacher, the man who had dominated the sport for over a decade, he would be retiring without achieving the storybook ending he had fought so valiantly for. However, the 2006 Formula One season will forever be remembered as a defining chapter in the sport's rich history. The unforgettable rivalry between Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso not only showcased the raw talent and unyielding determination of the two racing icons, but also marked an important moment in the evolution of Formula One.